Hello students, I Dr. Shishma Kushwaha welcome you all into the series of financial management, the subject of PBLLB second semester. In today's session, we'll be discussing about an important service which the various financial institutions are providing to the organizations to maintain their working capital management, that is the factoring service. So the factors are basically these are the agencies which are buying receivables from the organization and pay cash for it. The facility which they are providing, this type of facility is known as the factoring service or factoring facility. So how they go for the factoring service, or how we go for the factoring facility under an agreement between the selling firm and the factor firm. The factor firm makes an appraisal of the credit worthiness of the potential customers and may also set the credit limit and the term of credit for different customers. The sales document will contain the instructions to make payment directly to factor who is responsible for collection. Then when the payment is received by the factor on due date, the factor shall deduct its fees, charges, etc. and credit the balance to the firm's account. In some cases, if agreed, the factor firm may also provide advance finance to selling firm for which it may charge from selling firm. In a way, this tantamount amount to bill discounting by the factor firm. However, factoring is something more than mere bill discounting, as the former includes analysis of credit worthiness of the customer also. The factor may pay whole or a substantial portion of sales value to the selling firm immediately on sales being affected. The balance, if any, may be paid or on normal due date. So the functions of a factor, first of all, we have the various functions of a factor or the factor provider, factoring service provider. These are financing trade debts, maintenance or administration of sales ledger, collection of accounts receivable, assumptions of credit risk or credit control and credit restrictions, and provision of advisory services. So we'll be discussing all these one by one. So first of all, financing trade debts. So to finance the trade debt, the factor will purchase the book debts of his clients at a price, and the debts are assigned in favor of the factor, who is usually willing to grant advances to the extent of maybe any percentage of the assigned debt. So it may be of two types, with recourse and without recourse. So with recourse is the basis on which receivables are sold to the factor, with the understanding that all credit risk would be borne by the firm only. That means in case of non-payment, the amount will be refundable. Without recourse is being done on the factor, obligation to the seller becomes absolute on the due date of the invoice, whether or not the buyer makes the payment. That means it is the basis on which accounts receivable are sold to a factor, with the understanding that the factor accepts all the credit risk on the purchased accounts. If in case of non-payment, he is not liable, or he cannot ask the client to refund the money. Then maintenance or administration of sales ledger on transaction and invoices sent by the client to the customer, and a copy of the same is sent to the factor to maintain the ledger. The ledger is generally maintained under the open item method, in which each receipt is maintained or matched against the specific invoice. In addition, the factor also maintains a customer-wise record of payment, and which is spread over a period of time, so that any change in the payment pattern can be easily identified. Along with that, We have three more services which is being provided by the factor, that is collection of accounts receivables. Into this, the factor undertakes to collect the receivables on behalf of client, relieving him of the problem involved in collection and enables him to concentrate on other important functional areas of the business. This also enables the client to reduce the cost of collection by way of saving in manpower, time, and efforts. The use of trained manpower with sophisticated infrastructure backup enables a factor to systematically follow up and make timely demand on the debtors to make the payments. Also, the debtors are more responsible to the demands from a factor being a credit institution. Then the next is the assumption of credit risk or credit control and credit restrictions. The factor will also provide the credit risk or the credit limit to the various clients. The service is provided where the debts are factored without recourse. The factor in consultation with the client fixes the credit limits for approved customers, and within these limits, the factor undertakes to purchase all trade debts of the customer without recourse. In other words, the factor assumes the risk of default in payment by this customer. Arising from this function of the factor, there are two important incidental benefits occurring to the client. That firstly, factoring relieves the client of the collection work, and secondly, with access to extensive information available on the financial standing and credit rating of individual customers and their track record of payment, the factor is able to advise the client on the credit worthiness of potential customers, leading to better credit control. Last but not least is the provision of advisory services. These services are a spin-off of the close relationship between a factor and the client, but by virtue of their specialized knowledge, as they have already provided them the information regarding the credit worthiness of their customers. So with their specialized knowledge and experience in finance and credit dealing, and access to extensive credit information, factors can provide a variety of incidental advisory services to their clients, like with the customer's perception of the client's product, changes in the marketing strategy, audit of the procedures followed for invoicing, delivery, and dealing with the same with the sales return. Uh, all these advisory services can be provided by the factor so that the organization or the firm can take a better decision regarding providing the credit to the customer. So now we'll be discussing about that what are the various benefits. I believe we all have understood that how much important the factoring service is. So we'll be able to understand the benefits and the importance of the factoring services. So first of all, it will provide better cash flows because as if we have we have provided or we have made the sales on credit, we'll be able to get the cash flows in advance in case of without recourse. So better asset management also, we can easily manage our receivables, which is very tedious job and tedious task to maintain. If we'll be able to manage our receivables and credit worthiness, credit limits, then we'll be able to manage the working capital of the organization too. As again, we'll be able to manage our receivables, we'll be able to manage our debtors. So we'll be able to administer, we'll be able to have a good administration into the business organization, and we can easily evaluate our customers well because of the help of the factor service or factor service providers, as they have provided us the credit worthiness and various information regarding our clients, and if they are also helping us to identify and provide and determine the limit for the credit for the customer. It also helps us to manage the risk in a proper way, because it is going to help us to manage the risk. Um, it will help us to manage the risk because we know that credit, as it is been the credit has been evaluated, the limit has been evaluated, the credit worthiness and credit score of the customer has been evaluated. So the basic risk into the business organization is this only, that when we have made the credit sales, that we may not receive our debt amount from our customers. So in case we are able to manage that debtor, those debtors, then definitely more than 50% risk will be managed into the organization. So into this, the factors are going to really help the business organization to manage the risk of the business organization. So all these are the benefits of the factoring services. So with this, I would like to end this session. Thank you so much. In case of any query, you can directly drop a mail to me on this given email ID. Thank you so much.